$19 to $21 an hour.
So, Jamie Miles, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we usually start off, we let everybody introduce themselves, tell the audience who they are and what they've got going on. So let's hear who Jamie Miles is.
Okay. Well, like you said, I'm Jamie Miles. I do a few different things. I teach at North Wilkes High School. I teach the health science program, nursing fundamentals, where my students can actually graduate and have their CNA certificate, be able to work and, contribute to society after they leave high school if they don't feel like going on to further their education. Hopefully they will, and this is just a stepping stone for them. Also, I have a small YouTube channel. I do a farm. I've done all kinds of small farming, first-generation farmer. Right now, I'm farming goats. I have about 67.
6'7", I just bit right on the highway.
Head of mamas that we're breeding this year with about 5 or 6 different bucks.
Awesome.
Yep. So busy schedule.
Yeah, it sounds like it's staying pretty busy. So let's start off. You were doing nursing.
Oh yeah.
Yep. You were doing nursing, I believe, and that's how you got started in the CTE.
Yeah, you're right.
I
guess I should have let in with that a little bit. Originally, I was a paramedic for Wilkes County.
Okay.
I got started in the fire department, first responders, and loved that, and then kept going and got my paramedic certificate at like the night shift before they had the 2-year degree program. Worked for Wilkes EMS for about 10 years. And then me and one of my friends were talking one day, and Winston-Salem State actually offered a paramedic to BSN program, and we said, hey, let's go to school. And it's kind of just about like that. So we'd had some other paramedic friends that had done it and had enjoyed it, and of course they were making a lot more money than we were as paramedics, so that was another driving factor. So went to nursing school while I was working 24 on, 48 off. Had a wife and 2 kids and a mortgage, but still made it through. Worked in the ER at Wilkes, worked at Baptist for a little while, then back to the ER at Wilkes for about 10 years, and kind of got burnt out with emergency medicine. Needed a change, and then the school job just sort of fell into my lap. I would have never dreamed, that I'd have been a teacher, a nurse or a teacher, but especially never a teacher. But here I am.
Yeah. So that's an interesting journey.
Yeah, it has been.
So you're teaching CTE classes at North Wilkes High School.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what the CTE program is and why you think it's important and relevant.
CTE is a career and technical education program through the high schools. There's numerous programs that are offered I think it's in most of the counties and schools, especially around in North Carolina that I know of, and I'm sure it's in other states. Everything from auto body to computer sciences. And I'm one of the 2 teachers that do the health science. There's 4 classes. There's a very introductory just to kind of see if you like medicine or would be interested or if you know anything about it. And then it steps up into almost an anatomy and physiology class, which is Health Science 1. Health Science 2 gets into a little bit more of the legal aspect of it. And then your last year, senior year, some juniors, but seniors actually do what's called nursing fundamentals. And that is a course that they take throughout the semester. It's a first period, second period course. And they can get their CNA certificate. We actually go out to the nursing home, do 40 hours plus of clinical. Then we have to pass a state test. And I have actually, in the last 2 years, North High is a testing facility, so my students can test there. And some East High comes to North High and does their testing. So we've tried to make it convenient. We have good numbers. You can only have 10 students to 1 nurse ratio, and that's for the clinical portion of it, and that's mandated by the state. So we're always in the 8, 9, 10. The 8's really low for us. We don't usually have that, but 9 or 10 students. And there have been a few years in the past 5 years that I've taught the nursing fundamentals portion that we've had to actually do an application, and highest GPA, lowest, the lowest absences from school and all those kinds of things get selected for the program. So it's I'm lucky I get some of the high flyers.
Yeah, I guess that's why it's important to be a good student too and show up to school.
Yeah.
There is some incentive there if you want to get into these CTE programs.
Yes, exactly.
They start filling up. You've got to have tiebreakers. So.
Yeah. And not to cut you off, but the CTE itself is there for people who may not know what they want to do, who may not want to do a 4-year college, maybe want to try out some carpentry or masonry or maybe plumbing or electrical. We don't offer that at our school, but they do at other schools. So it's there, and there's usually something for everybody to give them, try to see what they might want to do in the future.
Yeah, I think they're fantastic programs. I think they're very important. You get these certificates, and you can actually, when you get out of high school, you go straight into the workforce. And with your kids doing clinicals at the nursing homes,
oh yeah,
they're kind of building rapport and building those relationships with the facility, then the people there, and hopefully can work their way right into a job.
Absolutely. We actually have North Wilkes. My group usually has 2 to 4 students every semester that get hired as soon as we pass the test, because they're always kind of short on CNAs at the nursing facilities. They come and go. But, they're in high school making anywhere from $19 to $21 an hour according to the demand. And then, there's an $1.50 or $2 an hour shift differential if they work after 3 o'clock or if they work on a weekend. So they could make potentially $23, $24 an hour as a high school student, working part-time at the nursing facility.
Yeah, that's really good money for a high school kid.
It's a lot better than some of the fast food places,
For sure. That's a lot more than I was making.
And there's people that may never want to do anything but that, and they take those classes. And I've had a few that's come through that I feel like may not want to go on to college or may not have the opportunities financially to move on to higher education right now, but they're able to get a job that they can make a decent wage and, provide for themselves and possibly, help provide for a family. So I think, there's opportunities for that to be extremely helpful for kids.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So the transition from being a nurse into the teacher, what was that like?
Oh, it's hard to describe. I went from what I felt like with 20 plus years of emergency medicine at the top of my game, where I knew everything, and when somebody needed something, they came to me with the questions. I was a charge nurse. I kind of kept the flow going in the ER. I knew where everybody was at, what they were doing, to extremely bottom of the totem pole who do nothing. And I understand it, but teaching's almost the only profession that I've ever went into that they said, here's your key, have a good time, I hope you do well. And it's hard not to do that. They can't sit with you 24/7.
Yeah.
But coming from the lateral entry side is what they called me. I was kind of labeled as. You had to be a nurse to teach this class. So they hired nurses to do it, and they got we had to do minimal classes to get our teaching degree. Mm-hmm. So we weren't as fortunate as teachers that had went to school for that primary profession. So it's kind of trial by fire almost. The first semester I was really wondering if I'd made the right decision. The first year, let's say, I really looked for other jobs hard, and my wife kept saying, just stick it out for one semester. And then it was like, well, just make it till summertime. And I'm glad she pushed, because I've been there 14 years now, and I really enjoy it.
That was my next question, is how long you've been there. I think I've known you for about 10 years of that. So 14 years.
Yep. And it's hard to believe I've been there that long. Time flies, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I go in your classroom and it seems like the kids really enjoy it. They're learning a lot, and I enjoy being around that.
Thank you.
It's awesome. So let's talk about kind of more in your personal life and what you've got going on there. Seven Stands Farms.
Yep, Seven Stands Farm.
So let's talk about how that got started. Where you got the idea for Seven Stands. I think I have a pretty good idea. It's almost self-explanatory, sounds like.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We started out, the farm name was Seven Stands Bee Farm. My dad and I were raising honeybees at the time, and that's got to be at least 20 years ago when we started. Yeah, because my son's 26 and he was probably in first grade, so maybe around 20 years. Because he's the one that actually came up with the name of the farm. We were trying to decide what to call our honey farm or our bee farm business, and we were standing in a driveway one day, and my son looks at me and said, well, just call it Seven Stands Farm, Dad. And I'm like, why did you say that, you know? So we had, just at the house I lived in, only had 7 hives of bees. And here in Wilkes County, we call a hive a stand of bees. So the name Seven Stands Bee Farm started. And then years went on with just bees. And then for a while, we raised chickens and pigs and goats and bees. So we dropped the bee part of it and just became Seven Stands Farm. It's kind of how we developed the name.
Okay.
Yep.
Neat.
It's kind of odd. It's a weird name.
Yeah, but it makes sense when you tell the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So what all are you into now? Are you still doing the bees, or has that kind of phased out?
The
What are
bees
you up to now?
the bees have kind of phased out. The bees, I enjoyed the bees. They're a lot more work than the goats are. And we were doing, like I said, selling at one point probably 400 to 500 whole chickens a year. And we would do 3 to 4 hogs a month, which was 34, 35 hogs a year and every Saturday we spent at the farmer's market. And after about 3 years, we kind of did cost analysis on money going out, money coming in, and we were making profit, but not enough profit to justify working 2 full-time jobs. Mm-hmm. So we were still working as teachers, but then we'd come home every evening, me and my wife, and we'd work the farm, because you had 20 or 30 goats. We'd have sometimes 20 to 30 hogs in the woods running, and we'd have 2 or 3 chicken tractors full of chickens. And then Saturdays or Sundays we weren't at the market, or afternoons we were processing chickens with another family friend that we were doing chickens together with. So we just had to do something different. And I really enjoy the goats. I enjoyed the bees, but like I say, they're a lot of work, and they're a lot of daytime work, where my dad was kind of taking care of that, but now as he's got a little older, he can't do all of it. So I couldn't do it and work full time too. So we dropped the bees back a little bit. Goats, we're running goats are our go-to. We're running a full herd of registered Kikos. And is a registered goat better than a regular goat? Probably not. I just enjoy that kind of genetic portion of it, kind of playing with the bloodlines. And one's supposed to be good for parasite resistance, and one's supposed to be good for growth rate, and trying to put those together and sort of see what you come out with.
Yeah.
It's a big game, but I still enjoy it.
Yeah. And you've been pretty fortunate through that so far.
Yeah, I have. I've had a lot of good mentors and learned a lot. I think my health or medical background has been really good in the husbandry of animals as well. Sickness and stuff that they deal with has been really good also.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's talk a little bit with your farm. I think you've also you have your own channel as well, correct?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Seven Stands Farm. I do Seven Stands Farm on Facebook. I've recently started a Seven Stands TikTok, just trying to get views up. We're small. I was looking before I came here, because knew you were going to ask the question, how long have I been? I've been It's December 20th of 2020 was the first video I posted.
Coming up on 5 years.
Yeah, coming up on 5 years. And when I look back, I'm like, wow, that's flew by as well. 720 or 40 some videos, and that includes the shorts and the long videos. So
Yes.
that's quite a few videos.
Yeah.
I really didn't realize I had that many out there. So a lot of hours and a lot of time, you know, behind the editing screen and a one-man camera guy. You know, I don't have a team that view, you know, videos or anything. So it kind of ebbs and flows. Sometimes I think I should quit. And I'm only at like 5,000 subscribers, 5,020 for 5 years, which a lot of people have outgrown that tremendously, friends that I've had. But not a lot of people look for goat content.
Yeah, it's got a specialized niche. So,
Yeah.
but hey, you've got a lot more. You've got a lot more than we have. I think we've got like 10.
Oh, come on.
I haven't
you
looked
got-
at our last metric.
You got better than that. You're better than that.
I
right?
stopped looking at the metrics. I don't know if I'm better than that, but my guests are usually better
Oh,
than
no, I
that.
wouldn't
My
say
guests
that.
are a lot
You're
better
doing
than
great.
that.
You're doing great. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking to you and learning a lot about what
Yeah.
you got going on. You stay busy. You've got a
Yeah.
lot going on, a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah, sometimes too many, you know, but it's still, I enjoy it. People ask, why do you do goats? I said, well, you got to spend your money on something, right? I don't play golf, so I buy goats.
Hey, at least you can get a return on the investment.
Hopefully,
so
sometimes
hopefully,
there's
yes.
a chance anyhow.
There's a
Exactly.
chance, yes. A
I
lot
would
of things
never
that you
win
could
any
spend.
money with golf for sure.
No, me either. I was never a great golfer. I enjoyed it when I got out there, but
For a little while.
for a little while, yeah.
Yeah,
It was supposed to be stress relief, but
It was very stressful.
it was stressful for me.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not my sport.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me, and can't wait to see it on YouTube.
Yes, sir. It'll be there. It'll be there probably in the next week or so.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.